Oh yeah. Okay, I can't play too much because YouTube's going to pick that up in the background, and then totally this video, no one will see it in foreign countries. They hear too much of that in the background. Good afternoon, everyone. It's DLAKE for PREZ, and in a special broadcast earlier today, if you watched earlier today's regularly scheduled programming, I was saying, oh, I don't have Annmarie's contact information. She was so great being on the show last week. Sam is off at the Trump rally in Wonderland, and then Annmarie got in touch with me, and I'm like, hey, let's go live. Let's just do this right now. I'm like, what do you want to talk about? She's like, should we dump Trump or be pumped for Trump? That's what we're going to talk about today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Annmarie, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's been another week of craziness, and I'm just happy to be here.
All right. What are some of the things this past week in the news that have stuck out to you that you want to talk about? Go ahead. Has there been anything in this week's news where you were just like, oh my God?
Well, I know that Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders had their first debate. Well, not first, but like on Sunday.
It wasn't their first debate. Like their seventh debate, but it was their first debate on Univision, and there was a lot of questions in Spanish and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people were saying that, the moderator was going to go easy on her because his daughter works for her campaign.
Oh.
Did you watch that at all?
I watched a good portion of the debate. I came in just a little bit late, but Jorge Ramos was not pulling any punches in Univision, and then there was a bunch of questions from the crowd in Spanish and stuff, and it was a very bilingual event presented by Univision.
Yeah, he was pretty tough on her. But there was one. Wasn't there one on Sunday? That wasn't that one. Wasn't that one the other day? Wait, now I got to get my notes here. On Sunday night, there was one. That's the first. That's what I meant by.
Yeah, you're right. Oh man, yeah. So much has happened. There was like 2 Democratic debates in 1 week. Yeah, that was like a Thursday night. The one in Spanish or Univision was in Thursday night. So back last Sunday, yeah, there was another one, right?
Yes, that was the one where everybody made a big deal about. I think Mark Ruffalo spoke. He's for Bernie Sanders. That's the guy who you were saying is like the Incredible Hulk or something.
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo, actor. Yeah, who portrayed the Hulk in the Avengers movies. Yeah.
He's definitely has the burn. He's definitely for Bernie Sanders. And that what?
He needs to go in for a checkup. He's feeling a burning sensation.
He certainly is. And he was they were talking about fracking that first night. And Hillary said that she just gave like a BS answer. Like
her answer was all conditional. Like she has 1, 2, 3 conditions, and yeah. And then Bernie's like, I have a much simpler answer. No.
Exactly. He was just like, no fracking. But the problem with that was he didn't explain anything further than that. Because it's
no was the answer. Come on, we're running for president here.
Exactly. He didn't talk about why or anything about it, because really fracking, what I've always heard, isn't the problem that's causing the problem with people's water. The fracking is where they pump a fracking solution deep into the ground, and that makes those cracks deep in the ground, and those cracks make the earthquakes. And then what happens is the pressure causes the oil and the gas to rise up with the fracking solution, and then the oil company takes that oil and gas and separates it from the fracking solution. Now this is like the important thing about that. What happens to the fracking solution? And what happens is that they inject it back into the ground. And that's what I've always heard is what can contaminate people's well water. It's when they re-inject the fracking solution.
And that's where
So
the contamination seems to come from?
exactly. And, you know, that's the whole problem, because they're re-injecting it into the ground, and that's what they think contaminates the water. So anyway,
So
he didn't really go on.
You thought Bernie's answer was better than Hillary's, but Hillary's was like conditional on 3 other things or something, and then Bernie's was just straight up no, but he didn't really say why no. And you felt like he should have explained why more?
Exactly. Well, the thing with Hillary's answer, I'll get to that in a minute, because that's like complete BS. She's like, you know, with Bernie, he just said no to fracking. I mean, the problem isn't the fracking itself. It's really the re-injection of the fracking solution. And that's what doesn't go way deep into the ground. That fracking, that goes right.
Well, let me ask you this real quick. Is that all EPA type regulation stuff, or where are we going with that?
Well, I know last week Sam wanted to know, and you guys were wanting to know about like the water in Ohio. So I actually looked that up. The problem here is in Pennsylvania. You know how we were talking about, like, I'm right near, you know, a lot of drilling sites and everything in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania allows fracking. They do allow fracking, but the people rose up and they said that they don't want the re-injection of the fracking oil, of the fracking solution. They said, you know, like, we're fine with, well, they're really not fine with fracking, all of them, but they did rise up and say, we don't want you to re-inject that fracking solution back into the ground, because that's going to contaminate our water. So now there's actually a law in Pennsylvania. So they do go ahead and frack, and then when it comes up, they separate the oil and the gas from the fracking solution, but they don't re-inject the fracking solution back into the ground. So what they do is they put on, what?
Where does it go then if we don't put it back underground? Can we shoot it into outer space is my question.
Oh, well, guess where it goes? They put it on trucks, they deliver it to Ohio, and they inject it in the ground there. I'm not joking.
Wait, what?
I swear to God.
Like, the solution part, that sounds like a part 2 to like just drilling up the oil and stuff, right?
Exactly.
The solution, they don't want to pump it back into the ground because it contaminate the water. So what do we do with it if we don't put it? We have to put it somewhere that's not near water? Is that what happens? And it goes to Ohio from West Virginia? Or from Pennsylvania to West Virginia? Where does it go?
Well, they have, basically what they're doing is, this is like chemicals. When we say fracking solution, we're talking chemicals. And that's what they're using to pump into the ground. And that's what fracking is. They're pumping it in deep, deep in the ground. They make these fractures down there that's causing earthquakes. So that's a problem. And then it comes up, all the oil and gas with the pressure comes up with the fracking solution. So then they separate that fracking solution, those chemicals, from that oil and gas. But now they have nothing. They're like, well, what do we do with this fracking solution? Remember I told you last week's show, I would smell.
I thought it was just salt. I thought it was just salts and minerals, and like it sort of dissolved, and it wasn't a big pollution issue.
Oh, okay, well, there was signs. Like, you'll see this huge sign for salt water injection site. It's not salt water. That's that horrible odor I told you about. You could smell. It would say salt water injection site. That's the fracking solution sites. They put that fracking solution.
The smell is going to be like a sulfur or something otherwise.
It's
right?
worse than sulfur. It's worse because in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, they had like sulfur, springs, and it smelled like rotten eggs. I mean, it smelled like sulfur. But we're talking worse than that. I mean, this saltwater injection site is not salt water. This is chemicals. This fracturing solution is chemicals that the oil companies are using, in fracking. But when it comes back up and they separate the oil and gas, that's what they do with it. They they re-inject it into the ground. So in Pennsylvania, you know, there's been all these rallies and everything. And yes, they don't want fracking, but they got part of it. They got some of what they wanted, which was not to re-inject it. And that's what they're doing everywhere. They're re-injecting these chemicals, this fracturing solution, back into the ground. That is what's going to contaminate your well. Like where you lived in Santa Fe, you probably were safe because it was basically like in the northwest part of like Four Corners they were drilling. So I'm guessing they probably put it back in over there. But in Pennsylvania, they're still fracking, but now, and they're fracking in Ohio too. I wouldn't brush my teeth with that water in Ohio, because then they go and now they're trucking in that fracturing solution from Pennsylvania to Ohio. And that governor is allowing it too. This governor is like extremely popular over there. And like I said last week, it's a great job. It's great if you don't even have to, a lot of those people didn't even go to college. They were just, you have a great job. You make maybe $150, $200 a day, and you're like the lowest man on the totem pole. And it does give you,
and you got free hotel stays with Big Daddy and all that, right?
It gives you a lot.
Well, okay. Trump is campaigning big and hardcore in Dayton, Ohio, in Cleveland, Ohio. He's in Ohio today. He's talking about how Kasich got lucky with fracking. He's dissing Kasich on TPP, the Trade Pacific Partnership, also NAFTA, and how Kasich was involved in Lehman Brothers. And when I asked you what you wanted to talk about today, one of the things that you mentioned was dump Trump or pumped for Trump. And what do you think, Annmarie? Why did you want to bring that up? Which one is it that you say, and what are the different angles to this? Should we be dumping Trump? Should we be pumped for him? We know last night he canceled his event in Chicago, Illinois, because he was aware that there was a lot of anti-Trump protesters in the midst, and possibly a limited police force. The police force actually said, well, we did have the people. We could have covered you. It would have been okay. Today there was a Trump scare. I covered it earlier this morning, where the Secret Service rushed the stage when someone like tried to grab him or something, grab his leg or something. I'm kind of pumped for Trump, but maybe I could dump him. I probably won't, but what do you think? Annmarie, go ahead.
I think that
I'm warning you.
No, well, I really didn't want to jump to conclusions with Donald Trump. Like on last week's show, we were talking about it, and it's like I was saying, I'm not sure. Is he a racist? I really don't know him. I don't know him personally. I think that he would say
I met him personally. I shook his hand. I was scanning my buddy's old computer photo files for that picture. But go ahead. No, I met him in person. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you have a picture of that? Did you have a beard back then too?
Yeah. I mean, it was probably more like a goatee back then. I was much more clean cut back then.
Wow.
Now I'm just like, fuck it. But anyways, but he looked the same, and he's much taller in person. I mean, I'm 6'2", and I swear he was taller than me, and his hair looks better when you're standing right in front of him. And his wife Melania is, I swear, probably the most beautiful woman I ever seen in my whole life. And Ivanka was beautiful, and Donald Jr. was there, and Catherine was there, and my sister was on The Apprentice.
Wow, that's really cool. I watched Celebrity Apprentice.
I encouraged her. It was the last season of regular Apprentice before Celebrity Apprentice. I encouraged her to be on the show because my father, we had the Art of the Deal book in the house, and I don't know, my neighbors had the board game and stuff, and I don't know. My family, we've always been I'm a fan of Trump. What can I tell you?
I played the board game. I used to play that board game.
The Art of the Deal.
Yeah, I played that.
I mean, I grew up, that book was on the bookshelf. I'm like, hey, Donald Trump, it's like, oh, now he's running for president. But even before, back in 2012, he was sort of like talking about running for president. And I was covering news back then, and I was like, I don't know, I kind of like the idea of it. My buddy was like, hey, your buddy Donald Trump's talking about running for president back in 2012. And I'm like, I think it's a good idea. And then now 2016, he's like, I'm going to run. So when he first announced, I was like, hey, this sounds pretty good. And I've just been right all the way along the whole way because he's just been like on this crazy ascending path. And how do you, I mean, should we dump him now? I mean, come on. Who's going to dump him? Mitt Romney?
Oh my gosh,
Mitt Romney and Annmarie. The two people against Donald Trump.
No. Well, it's not like I'm against him. I'm just not pumped for him. I just think that, believe me, this is actually good, like what I'm saying. I'm saying that I don't believe a lot of what he's saying because I think he's, and that's good for, you know, for people who support him, I guess, because I just think that he'll say whatever he needs to say to get elected. A lot of these politicians will do that too. They'll say whatever they need to get elected. And I just think that I don't want him to be a racist. I think the media is now really portraying him to be a racist, you know?
Yeah, I mean, how many articles are there comparing him to Adolf Hitler, right?
Exactly. You know, the only thing I could say about like my own life is that like I try usually to be open-minded, but when we were coming from like Clovis, New Mexico, and we were driving to like Amarillo, we went through this place and it was called Hereford, Texas. And I thought this place, like I usually like to stop along the way and get something to eat or something to drink and stuff like that. And so I said, well, let's stop here and, you know, I could go to the bathroom, get something to eat, whatever. And then I saw this thing, and as soon as we entered the town, and there was this huge sign, and it said, Home of the White Faces. And I was like, Home of the White Faces? Like, doesn't that sound really racist? So I was like, this town is really racist. And then we went to like, we were driving through some more, and I was like, I don't want to stop here. I'll just wait till like someplace else. And then there's a school bus, and the school bus on the side had a huge banner, Home of the White Faces, the White Faces. And I was like, oh my God, this is the most racist town. And I love Texas. I absolutely love Texas. But I was like, this place is so racist. I want to get out of here. I don't even want to like, I don't ever want to come back to Texas and, you know, this and that. Well, anyway, I go home and I Google Hereford White Faces. It's in Hereford, Texas. And that's the name of the football team is the White Faces. And it's a cow that actually has like a white face. It's like the Hereford cow.
Oh, a cow.
So,
okay.
Yeah, the cow actually has a white face, so it's like brown, the rest of it, and that's why they're Hereford, Texas. It's Hereford cows, and the Hereford White Faces is like the football team. So I prejudged, and after that, I was like, oh, like I wish I didn't prejudge that, because you know I want to try to keep like an open mind, and I really could have stopped there and had like a delicious steak. They're known for like I read that they like are known for being delicious.
Steak, perhaps.
What?
A white face steak, perhaps.
I don't know what they look like, but they're supposed to be delicious. So it's like that's what I feel like with this Donald Trump. It's like, you know, everybody's saying like last week it started happening. They asked him about, you know, David Duke, and they asked him about this, and I could see what the media was trying to do. They were trying to say that they were trying to make him sound like a racist, like they were asking him questions.
No, they have. Yeah. Last week I was telling you to watch House of Cards, season 4, episode 2 or 3. They're like, oh, we have to disgrace him, the fictional president on the TV show House of Cards. We have to disgrace him by you know, saying he has relations to the KKK. And it's like they did the same thing to Ron Paul. They did the same thing. I mean, obviously. David Duke ran for president in 1992 for the Republicans, so it's like there's a history there. I mean, but did you see this parody on Saturday Night Live, Annmarie?
No, I didn't see it.
Let me play this for you.
Okay.
The media's been saying some pretty negative things about Donald Trump.
We have to sort of comment on it along the way, so it's not like a total ripoff. It's for,
Okay.
we're using it for free media purposes.
What are real Americans saying?
The guy's a winner.
He's authentic.
He's the only one who's actually created jobs.
He literally wrote the book on negotiating.
Trump's an outsider. Washington needs that.
I think he can make this country great again.
So when people ask why you support Donald Trump, you just tell them.
He's going to take our economy from here to here.
He's not some cautious politician. He says what I'm thinking.
Okay, so you see what's Annmarie, you see what's happening here. You're starting to get the joke,
Exactly.
right? Okay.
Oh, definitely.
I don't know what it is. I just like the guy.
Some of his ideas seem crazy. I like that he's looking towards solutions.
He's definitely not PC.
So why do I support Trump? 3 words.
Book burning. Book burning is like so like 40s or something. I don't know. Here comes the guy. Yeah, this still happens in America. Yeah. Okay.
A message from racists for Donald Trump.
Okay. So you get the point there, and considering we titled today's show "Dump Trump" or "Pump for Trump," I mean, who's pumped for Trump? The racists for Trump on a comedy special, or?
Well, that's the thing that's worrying me this week. I mean, it sounds to me like I really don't think that everybody who likes Trump and wants to vote for Trump is a racist. I hope I say that right, because I don't think that everyone who likes him is a racist. But I do think that he is attracting some racists, and it's becoming a reality that they're showing up now, that they're making it. I don't want them to make a Trump rally into like a Klan rally or something, or like a get together for all these racists, because it seems now that there are protesters that show up, and not all the protesters are horrible people. I mean, even last week, there were some students that were kicked out right away, and they weren't going to protest, but they were like African American. I don't want people to be targeted because of their skin color. And then the police have been a little rough with them. And then some of the people at the Trump rally will then afterwards, spit on them or say nasty things to them, and, people who are protesting. And then now it's just all like, I think the shit has hit the fan. Like now everyone's angry, everyone's upset, and it's not like a good feeling rally.
And
you
Ted
have people.
Ted Cruz and Hillary Clinton are going to use that to their favor. Never let a good crisis go to waste. Use it against Trump to say that your rallies and your events promote violence. But even Trump said today, you know what? When I have 20,000 people come out and 10 people act up, you make it sound like 20,000 people acted up, and that's not really the case. And you guys, Hillary Clinton and Ted Cruz, couldn't get 20,000 people to come see you, even if you paid them to come see you.
Right. The only thing I hope is that, it's going to be tough for Trump to be in this position, because, like I said, he wants every vote, including he'll take.
Yeah, he's
votes
like,
everybody.
you're kind of racist and white supremacist, but I'll still take your vote. I mean, that's all I want from you is your vote. I don't care. Look, I've been on YouTube a long time, Annmarie. I've had people call me all kinds of names and all kinds of disgusting stuff. And then I've had some people that support me get into fights with other people that disagree with me on the YouTube channel. I'm not responsible for those people. Okay?
Right. I agree. And the only thing I could say about like my feelings about it is I do think that he has, from what he said, might have incited a little bit of feelings, in people, because there are racists out there. And
he's like, I would like to punch that guy in the face. And then the next week, a guy in the stands at the rally, what you would call a supporter, maybe, there was a protester being escorted up the stadium stairs, and the guy took a swing and punched the other guy in the face. And then the black guy that, okay, if you want to say, the black guy that got punched in the face, it was the cops that wrestled the black guy to the ground and took away the guy that got punched in the face by some crazy Willie Nelson-looking supporter up in the crowd.
Exactly.
And then they say, oh, Donald Trump is for the Willie Nelson and not for the fucking, you know, black guy that was being hauled off because he erupted in a crazy way. Last night, Trump canceled his event in Chicago with thousands of people there. But when I was watching live, they let the cameras keep rolling. There was a black guy that erupted and tried to take over the stage. There was other people in the crowd, white people that were acting all obnoxious and crazy. I mean, everyone was acting like really kind of off the chain. I mean, what's going on? Is it all Trump's fault?
It might be the water they're drinking.
It might be the water. It could be the water. It's all because of the Ohio fracking. Annmarie, thank you for nailing it all down and really pinpointing the root cause of everything right there.
The thing about racists is they don't like anybody. So it's not just black people. They don't like my ex-boyfriend in Texas. His mother told me, you're part Italian. Italian, as she said, and she didn't want me in the family because I'm part Italian. You know, there's people that hate. There's people that hate Mexican people. There's
people don't like Jews.
There's people, yeah. So I mean, like people showing up to this rally are, you know, obviously there's a lot of racists showing up, and Donald Trump has to be very careful because not only does he have people like on the other side, like Hillary and things like that, and within his own party, they want to get.
Hillary's going to keep trying to use love against him. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. But he does have a big problem where they hate him within the Republican Party is kind of ridiculous right now because everybody. What I don't understand about this whole thing with the Republican Party is they said to him, are you going to pledge that you won't run as an independent, that you'll only run as a Republican? Well, isn't that like contradictory to what they're doing? Because they're saying, like sources are saying to, like what I've read online is sources are saying that they're trying to undermine him and undermine his campaign, and that they don't want Trump to run as a Republican. So it's like just a few months ago, they asked him, do you pledge your support? Would you promise you only would run as a Republican? And that to me is very confusing. And why would you want to undermine someone who's running, you know, as a Republican?
I personally think just having been watching this all kind of like in real time, I think that's kind of like an older argument because I think he did sign the pledge. And I think at this point, the Republicans have to acknowledge how many people he is bringing to the party. And he's been injecting that into the debate, into what he's been saying lately about the real story is the millions of people that are coming to the Republican Party to vote for him, not Hillary Clinton, not anyone else.
Yeah, well, that's what's so confusing to me because now I saw like his wife was going around.
Well, it might seem confusing because the Republican elite don't want that to happen. They're like, anybody but Trump, nobody but Trump. So, yeah, it causes a little bit of like, what the hell?
Exactly. Like when Mitt Romney gave that speech last week, I kind of thought that he was going to say he was going to run. Like, I thought he was going to say at the last minute that he was going to get in the race, even though because they say his wife, Mitt Romney's wife, did like a cookbook, and she was like on this show called Home and Family when I had cable like a month ago, and she kept saying how they kept calling him Mitt Romney and telling him they wanted him back in the race, but right. He wasn't liked by the Republican Party either. Neither was John McCain. Neither was any. They don't seem to like any of their nominees, the Republican Party.
Did you see Mitt on Netflix?
No, I did not.
Well, you didn't. I don't know if you knew, but Mitt Romney, like after his second failed campaign, he had a special that was on Netflix that was like all about his 2 failed runs for the presidency. I'm still waiting for Trump to bring this up.
Oh, wow. No, I did not even know that he did that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Little opposition research by DLAKE there. Yeah. He's just, I mean, when you watch the thing, it's like, hey, after your pitiful second debate with Obama where Candy Crowley embarrassed the hell out of you and you couldn't stick up for Benghazi, like, what's next? He's like, oh, I'm going to build a 18-car garage and go to Disneyland, and you won't see me for a while. And then Obama's president again.
Well, just so you know, I actually wanted Obama to win the first time around. Like the first.
I mean, the first time it did seem very revolutionary. He was attracting gigantic crowds. A lot of what he was saying sounded really good.
I was so excited. That's when I was working in Texas when I first met Charlie, and it was just like so exciting for me. But the rest of the people that I worked with were not excited at all. And some racism there did come out. Like this other guy from oh my God, he came up to me with his phone and he had an app on it with Obama, and Obama turned into like a monkey eating a banana. And I was so upset.
Back in 2008 when the first black president was elected, do you think there was any racism coming out? I don't know. I remember getting a text message the day that he was elected that was like, Barack Obama has been elected. Attention all white people. Please report to the cotton fields immediately.
Oh my God, that's horrible. I just think that's what scares me. Like right now with this Donald Trump thing, I think he's got to be really careful, because I know he doesn't want to come out and say, I don't want your vote. Don't come out and see me at my rally. But I do think that there's more and more people who are coming to his rally, almost like a get-together. You know what I mean? I mean, are they busing these people, these racists in? Like, are they saying, let's get together, let's all go to the rally? You know what I'm trying to say?
The size of the crowds that he has, that would be a lot of buses, Annmarie.
Well, I'm saying some of them. Some,
I
not
think
all.
Driving mostly, but or I don't know. They just show up there. There might be some buses. There could be some buses. I don't know. But it's like Hillary's the one that gets busted when she busts in like a whole high school band and stuff. And like Trump never gets popped for that kind of stuff. People boo Bill Clinton. I mean, did you know that Bill Clinton and Donald Trump were like the same age? Trump's like a couple months older, but
yeah,
Bill Clinton looks like he's like 20 years older.
Oh, well, he has horrible health. I mean, he had like heart operations, and remember he was supposed to be on a vegan diet, Bill Clinton.
Yeah,
they said that
he's been on that for a while now. I don't know. Maybe I should go on that, lose a little bit of weight. I don't know, but not that much. I mean, I don't want to look all frail and look like I'm on
in fact,
like that. But
he's not a vegan really anymore.
What about Hillary? What about Hillary Clinton's health? What's up with all the coughing? What's up with her like having a coughing attack like every time?
Yeah, well, she had like a or something, right? A few years ago, they said that she had.
But she's also got something else, so it's like she has to take one drug, but it seems like it's counteracted with another drug she has to take because like she wants to prevent blood clotting with blood thinners, but she doesn't want to get the blood too thin because of some other stuff, or I don't know.
I was on blood thinners my whole pregnancy with my son. I had a horrible pregnancy, and it's awful.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of gestational diabetes? Like you only have diabetes when you're pregnant? That's crazy.
That's horrible. I mean, I didn't have gestational diabetes. I mean, in fact, I was like pretty low carb and low sugar. I had to really watch my diet, and but I had to inject.
But it was like kind of like one of those things that was like just when you were pregnant that it was like really major, right?
Yes, I mean, I've never had like major health problems before, but as soon as I got pregnant, I was, you know, they basically told, that's why, I mean, me and Charlie got married afterwards. Like, because it was pretty much like, they said, like, my doctor called me up and said, you have a 50-50 chance of dying if you go through the pregnancy. And of course, I'm going to go through with the pregnancy. This is my baby.
But I only want to marry you if you survive.
Well, the thing is, I talked to my parents on the phone, and my mother said something like, well, maybe this isn't meant to be. I said to Charlie, you know, like, you're a lawyer, and I want it written down that I want to go through this. I don't care if there's a choice. If there's a choice, I want you to save the baby and not save me. I want to have this baby. It's a life. It's inside me. I don't believe in like abortion, at least for myself, I don't. And this is a living thing inside me. I've never been pregnant before. I want my baby. And he was, you know, he's like a big Democrat. I mean, he was very worried. He's never, you know, he's older. He's like, he was in his 50s, and he was like, he never even held a baby before. And he was like, what am I going to do? Like, you know, if something happens to you. But I just said to him, like, you know, like, we broke up a few times by now. And then I basically said to him, let's call the judge. He had a friend who's a judge. I said, let's go right now and get married. And you make the decisions for me. If something happens to me, I want you to save the baby. And I was in and out of the hospital. I was on blood thinners. I had to inject them. It was horrible. It was a horrible, you know, pregnancy is supposed to be like a beautiful experience. I was like always worried about losing my baby. And, you know, that's,
yeah.
You know, did you hear that like whole Jeb Bush thing with the Terry Schiavo case?
Whoa. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Like, I was worried about that happening because
I
already, like,
you didn't want to be on, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want my parents making the decision for me, what happens to me. I want my husband to make the decision because he knows what I want. And I want to, you know, save my baby.
Was that life-threatening that you were contemplating all this stuff?
Yes, it was extremely life-threatening. It was a bad situation. I mean, basically I had to inject you know, blood thinners like the whole pregnancy. I was in and out of the hospital, and then everything turned out okay in the end.
How long ago was this, and how well did everything turn out, and how great and miraculous is your son? And just tell everyone about that part real quick.
Oh, he's wonderful. He's a dream. I mean, this
was a while ago. He was born. Everything worked out, right?
Yes, but see, this is why I you know, not to get, like, I mean, I didn't know we were gonna, like, I was gonna talk about this, but this is why I
didn't either, Annmarie, but it's great because like you're so open about this, but that was kind of heart-wrenching there for a minute, but it seems like everything worked out, right?
Right, but see, like, this is, like, my mother almost died when she gave birth to my little brother. So that's why when I got pregnant and I was having problems, they thought I was going to have the same problems. And when she gave birth to my little brother, he died. He didn't make it, and she almost died. So they thought that same thing was going to happen to me. Like, they thought I was going to have a placenta abortion, this and that. So anyway, and then when I went to my little brother's funeral, I'm Catholic, and I was only 6 years old at the time, and they had like an open, you know, coffin, which really I was too little to probably see. And everybody promised me that he would be an angel in heaven. It was very confusing to me, and I just wanted to make sure he was going to be okay, you know, that he was going to be in heaven and okay. And then when I got back to school, now I went to Catholic school, one of the kids in my class said, what happened to Annmarie's little brother? And the teacher said, this is why I hate the Catholic Church, DLAKE. This is why it happened.
I wear these glasses so you can't see me tear up, but go ahead.
Okay, but this is what happened. The teacher said, now I had nuns and everything like that. The teacher said, my little brother now didn't get baptized. And he's going to be stuck in limbo forever. So I said to myself,
call me Big Daddy.
Forget this. And basically, for the rest of my life, I had to go to Catholic school. I had to go to Catholic all-girls school. I have to do everything my parents want me to do. I mean, my dad's not Catholic. My mother tried to make him convert, and he actually tried to convert, and he got pretty serious about it. He's very eccentric, and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm just saying that, if it comes up about religion or anything like that, I'm not like a Satanist or anything. I do believe in God and I believe in spirituality. I just am an anti-Catholic church. So if any topic comes up, I will be free to speak my mind.
well, how about this? Before this election campaign season kicked off, when Kyle was on the show, one of the things that he mentioned was that the Republicans, they have this thing where they just go too far into religion, and it's like Ted Cruz is so, like, everything about his campaign is so involved in the church and the evangelicals and that sort of thing. And like, I read a report this morning that, he's Pentecostal something or some kind of special Catholic / Christian with the flames and the flaming tongues, and his logo looks just like the church logo and stuff. I had to stop reading. I'm like, this is too much for me. But like, I mean, religion, like, do you think that like it should play as much in politics, or do you think less so?
No, it should be totally out of it. I mean, there's supposed to be separation of church and state. I mean, there's still governors that, even a year ago were saying we need to have the 10 commandments.
Like if this, let's just say candidate A is on his first wife and has never cheated, and he, swears up and down that like he just does all the most righteous stuff every day, and candidate B is on his third wife and maybe done some risque stuff and been on Howard Stern's show and said some other stuff that wasn't all the way like righteous, and like maybe done things that were kind of like gambling or something that wasn't like it might not have been one of the deadly sins, but it was like right on the cusp of it. But like, who would you vote for? In other words, Bill Trump or Punk for Trump, which is today's headline. Annmarie, what do you think?
Well, I definitely think whenever I hear somebody talk really self-righteous and they're Republican and they're anti-gay or anything like that, a lot of times they turn. I mean, there's a lot of gay people out there.
The guy who's against all this is the guy that gets busted for it, and the anti-gay is at foam parties like Marco Rubio and stuff.
I saw that picture. Yes, exactly. It's like self-denial. It's like, they're ignorant, and they're so. Even Michelle Bachmann, remember her husband? They used to do like the. Do you remember? He used to like. He sound like. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. I shouldn't even bring that up. But
he seems a little effeminate, but maybe not all the way, but just a little bit, like.
Yes, I mean, whenever I hear these people say, "Oh, blah blah blah." I mean, I think with Mitt Romney, who was it that the guy who had Hustler magazine? I think he said he'd pay somebody. He would pay. Do you remember that in the headlines that he would pay for like a dirty story on Mitt Romney to bring him down? Larry Flint.
Larry Flint, yeah.
Nobody ever.
What was that movie? Larry Flint, right?
Yeah, I mean, he did try to get people to come out and say there's something, some skeletons in Mitt Romney's closet back then. But Mitt Romney had so much money, he'd probably pay that person off like himself,
No,
but yeah, I hate.
That kind of does bring up an important topic, though. How do you feel about Playboy magazine no longer featuring nudity, Annmarie?
That is really weird. It's.
I mean, that's what they're known for, right?
Exactly. I don't understand why they're doing that. I don't know. I wonder, maybe because the internet. I mean, the internet is shutting down magazines. A lot of magazines are going out of business. Even newspapers. Maybe they're going to do something online. Maybe they'll,
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was so funny. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can't get it in the magazine, but you can get it online for an extra $1 or something, right? Yeah. But like, it's so funny because, yeah, just the other day I was like, oh man, so funny. Like everything is a move to online, because even like in the campaigns there, we're talking about magazines, and they say my magazine. It's like Donald Trump was like, oh, I used to just get magazines. Like I'd start up a company, I'd start up a magazine. The magazine would be like a magazine for the company. It would last a couple months. And they're like, oh, you no longer have the magazine. You're a bad businessman. It's like, no, I would just have the magazine for a couple months to get the company started. It's kind of like, I was like, hey, everybody, before we had the internet, we had these things called magazines. And like,
Right.
that's the way that they worked. I mean, you know what? Before you went to websites, you went to the bookstore and you bought a magazine. Like, I don't know how many people remember that.
And the library and
You'd
Blockbuster.
go to the library and get these things called books.
And Blockbuster. I used to always go to like a Blockbuster type of thing and pick out a video.
I know. And try to spend, here's something that I say, try to spend cash at the Red Box. You can't. The Red Box is part of a cashless society system, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. But they're right outside the 7-Eleven. You can still spend cash at 7-Eleven. So I guess you'll be okay for now. But they sell drones at the 7-Eleven now. Like,
Really? Wow.
yeah, there's little mini drones. You can buy them there, especially around Christmas time. But it's so funny, this dump Trump or get pumped for Trump. I'm kind of pumped. What are you saying, dump?
No, I don't think. I think that people.
Who's going to be the president, Annmarie?
I don't like any of them. I mean, I'll tell you the truth. I think that Donald
What
Trump.
about the Libertarian Party, Gary Johnson, or McAfee, or Jesse Ventura, or the other guy?
McAfee. No.
Go bury yourself in the sand, McAfee. Go kill your neighbor and bury yourself in the sand, McAfee.
He's crazy. No, he's a little too crazy. I think that everybody likes Trump. A lot of people like him. He's popular for a reason. Because people are upset about the way everything is today. You know, like everything, economically, everything. He said he could change it. Like, you know, everybody promises. And I'm not really threatened by Trump. I think that he's saying what he has to say to get elected. And he's fighting for his life in this race because he's got his own party who's against him, and behind the scenes are supposedly plotting for him to, like, I don't know what they're going to do, what they're plotting, but it sounded like they want him out. And what's that?
Sounds like George Soros is funding like MoveOn.org to get involved, and they were at the Chicago rally. This is Caitlyn Jenner. The country is over if Hillary Clinton is elected president. Annmarie, how do you feel about Caitlyn is the first question. And second of all, do you think that Caitlyn I got something else playing on ad playing on this page. Where is it? Velvet. It may be quite a while before. Jeez, quiet. Do you think that Caitlyn has any political pull, and how do you feel about Caitlyn, aka, formerly Bruce Jenner?
I think that if Caitlyn is happy being this way, then I'm fine with that. I mean, my neighbor just the other day, I went out and he was taking out the garbage, and he was wearing a skirt, and he's like 400 pounds, and I mean like a short skirt, and that's in West Virginia.
Or a skirt?
What?
A towel or a skirt?
It was a mini skirt, like a fluted black mini skirt. I just said hi. I mean, I don't really care how people, live their life, as long as, they're not bothering me, or, you know what I mean? It's something like non-threatening. I'm fine with it. But,
I feel sexy to anyone, to be honest. I mean, that's what I've heard.
Caitlyn Jenner might have went nuts for living with the Kardashian family, like Kris Kardashian, and that looked like a crazy reality show that they were. I never watched it.
I think there could be an argument made there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. Just I don't really have too much of an opinion on that. I try to ignore those things.
Let's take a see here. Let's take a look. See here. Caitlyn Jenner goes on a tirade against Hillary Clinton on this Sunday's episode of I Am Kate, insisting the Democratic presidential candidate is a quote unquote effing liar, and the quote unquote country is over if she's elected. Watch the video below. As Gossip Court reported, Season 2 of Jenner's reality show sees her embarking on a bus tour with her transgender friends. During their trip, the women began to argue politics, and Shandy Moore asked Caitlyn of her opinion of Donald Trump. Quote, "I think he would have a hard time with women," says Jenner, who further offers, "It doesn't mean he wouldn't be good for women's issues. I think he would be very good for women's issues." The rest of the women groan at the lifelong Republican statement. So it's like, Caitlyn Jenner, you Republican, all us transgenders are supposed to be Democrats! We're all Democrats in the transgender community! Annmarie, what do you think? I'm just goofing off, but what do you think?
I think that Hillary... The only thing I know, the thing I respected about her was I think she did when she went to Yale, she did a paper on taxing junk food and things like that. Maybe
Bloomberg stuff.
Yeah, maybe people will eat less junk or something if we tax it. Which, by the way, when I lived in Birmingham, Alabama, and I wasn't married yet, and I was pregnant, and I was trying to save my money. We had separate bank accounts, me and Charlie. In fact, this year is the first year we actually have a joint bank account. And it was basically I had to buy my own food and, everything like that. It's really expensive in Birmingham, Alabama. And I mean, it's not junk. I'm talking about an apple. They tax every item. I mean, in New York.
Wait, tax on food like an apple?
Yes, and there's only 5 states. I think it's 5 states. I didn't research this prior to the show because I wasn't thinking of talking about this, but it was horrible. There's 5 states, I think, that including Birmingham, Alabama, that tax food. So if I went to the store, the grocery store, to buy an apple, I could have went to Panera and got a cut up fruit cup. I mean, it would have been the same price because they put a tax on that when you go to a restaurant. But so if you go get an apple at Birmingham, Alabama, you're going to be taxed on it. You buy a banana, there's a tax on it. Every item of food, and I'm not talking tampons, maxi pads. I'm talking toilet paper. People are arguing in the news. Is there a tax
on those things too? Yeah, there is.
Yeah, I mean,
there always is, right? Normally it's always. And the cigarette tax and the alcohol tax.
Right. See, a lot of people were fighting the tax, and this is just, nationwide. People were saying, listen, toilet paper shouldn't be taxed because that's a necessity. Tampons shouldn't be taxed. That's a necessity. Diapers, babies, need diapers. That shouldn't be taxed. That's a necessity. But I'm not even talking about that. That's like an issue also, but all those things are always taxed in every state. What I'm talking about is an apple. I mean, we should research this more because I'm not from Birmingham, Alabama, but that used to really piss me off. And I went kind of coupon crazy. I'm cutting coupons. I'm trying to save money. And there's really no coupons for an apple. And I wasn't on food stamps or anything. You know what I mean? It's
tampons don't grow on trees, okay?
That's true. And, I got to research this. Maybe we could Google tax on groceries because definitely Birmingham, Alabama was one. And when
how do you feel about tax on marijuana?
Oh, God.
A lot of things if marijuana was legalized and then there was a tax on it. But then do you think that the money should go to like local farmers and people that produce a certain product, or should Marlboro just come in and monopolize the whole marijuana?
Well, I mean, it's good if you're, in the business. Like, when I think, it's good for small businesses, probably, like, maybe they'll get bought out by Marlboro. When I was living in Steamboat Springs, it was before it was like legalized, like a small amount for people. So when we were in Steamboat Springs, there was like Colorado, there was like commercials
Sort of
for.
decriminalized.
Well, when we went back to Colorado last year, we went to Denver, and it was like, okay, this was like a crazy scene. The hotels were really expensive, right? So we wanted to stay in one that wasn't like too expensive, like downtown area, but you don't want to like, so we went to like a normal one, like a Comfort Inn Suites. And some of them actually, like when you go to the website, it'll say, are you 420 approved? Like, I didn't even realize this one.
Are you 420 approved before you come in this establishment? You're like, what? You're like, go watch these certain, you have to know what 420 means.
Oh, exactly. I didn't know what 420 was until we were watching Martha Stewart's show. Remember when me and Charlie were watching Martha Stewart, and she had Snoop Dogg on, and they were making brownies or something. They're making brownie. And she says, now we have to she makes the whole recipe with Snoop Dogg. And then she says, oh, we got to put it in the oven at like 400 degrees or something. And then Snoop Dogg says, what, not 420? And then Martha Stewart says, oh no, like they burn at 420. And then Charlie started laughing hysterical, and I didn't get it. And then he explained it to me, what 420 meant. So now, like, I know what that means. But it was they probably have a clip on that on YouTube or something. But anyway.
Yeah, I got some pics right here. Snoop Dogg,
that's how I found out. I think that's the episode. And she's like, oh no, they burn at 420.
They all burn at 420. And you're like, what does that mean? And Charlie had to. That's hilarious. No, that's funny.
When we went to this hotel, like this is just last year, now it's legalized. Marijuana is legalized. And I didn't realize it then. Right. This guy going up and down the hallway, and he was like, I didn't know what the heck was going on. So I opened the door, and there was this guy, and he was kneeling down right like at my feet, like when I opened the door. And it was like the maintenance man, and he was sniffing under the doors. And I said, I don't smoke cigarettes, but you could come in. I mean, if that's what you're looking for, whoever's smoking. And he said, no, it's not cigarettes, it's marijuana. And he said, somebody's smoking marijuana on the floor. So he was like sniffing like the doors. So
like he's on his knees like, at the door crack, like he's trying to like smoke a bong load through the fucking door crack, all like he's like, oh, I'm trying to get high. And he's like, you're like, what's going on? He's like, someone is smoking weed. I gotta find out where it is.
Exactly. And we left that hotel right after that. We moved to another hotel. It was like these were even nicer hotels. I mean, these were like $100-something a night. You know, I mean, these aren't like really gross hotels, but it seems to be a thing there where people will come there as tourists. So then they had like these really dumb commercials on TV where it looked like a cartoon telling tourists how to be smart about doing drugs and coming there.
No, but just to what you just said, though, that's becoming a thing about weed hotels, where like you go to a hotel that specializes in like, you know, all your marijuana comforts. Like you can be high the whole time. They got, I don't know what else they got, video games and shit that you want to, a bunch of good food and like snacks and shit. They have one room. They have one room, it's bubbles, and another room, it's all Doritos, and it's just like everything you want to do when you're totally baked.
Yeah, they had, we were in a lot of different hotels. Like first we stayed at the Staybridge, which was right near the airport, which took him forever to get downtown. The airport's like an hour away from downtown where his office was. So, they had like free beer at night. They had like Ophelia beer. It tasted kind of like orangey, and I really like trying different things. But it was like I just remember it tasted like orange and like clove or something. It tasted like that. Then we went to the Comfort Inn. Then we went to La Quinta. That's where that guy was sniffing outside the door. And then we finally stayed at the Drury Inn, and they had like free chicken tenders. And my son loves like Tyson chicken tenders. And they had free beer. They had a card that they stamped. So you could get free beer, wine, drinks, mixed drinks at night, every night. And except for like the weekends, I think, except for like Saturdays and Sundays. But and they kind of carded me because like they had beer on like draft, like on tap. It was just Bud Light. It wasn't Coors, which I was surprised because we tried to take a Coors tour at Golden, Colorado, and you think Coors would be everywhere, but it was Bud Light that they had for free. And they thought that the girl actually thought that I wasn't 39. She was like, I thought you were younger than that, and she wouldn't let me have a beer. And then I had to get my license and show her. So that was weird. And anyway,
come on, David. You look young for your age. You give yourself a little credit.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's nice of you. Thank you. But I was surprised.
I mean, I don't know. I like on video. I'm like, let me see your identification, please. I don't think I'm going to card you. You look over 21. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I've always had a bit of a problem getting carded. Yeah, but I just think, but back to your original question, I think that, hey, it's a business. And in Colorado, obviously, a lot of people want it. I mean, they had prescription, like you could get a prescription, and it was very easy. It sounded like to get if you had a prescription, you could get marijuana, before.
At the beginning of this year's presidential election, when say Rand Paul was still in the race, a couple other people. I mean, the libertarians. I mean, they could promote Gary Johnson. That might bring it back into the fold. But what I'm trying to say is, at the beginning of this year's presidential election, it seemed like marijuana might play a part in the consensus of who we should vote for. But with Donald Trump's rise, and he's talked only about marijuana once or twice, and I watched like a lot of his stuff, and like in one he said he agrees with medical. But, I mean, on a whole, not just any one candidate, but on a whole, marijuana is kind of taking a backseat in this year's election. And how do you feel about that? I mean, but, like, would you agree that marijuana seems to be, as an issue in a presidential election year, do you feel like it maybe is taking a backseat this year?
Oh yeah, because, at the beginning, there was like this, there's like lots of hemp things out there. I used to love shopping. There's nothing here in West Virginia. There's no Whole Foods, there's no Super Target, there's no Costco, there's no grocery stores like too. So, but I used to love going to, and especially, but I used to love going to like Whole Foods, and there's like hemp oil. I mean, it's very healthy. There's like, they make clothes out of. There's an oil that they make out of marijuana that some places, like some states, won't allow, and that could help like babies and children who are sick. I mean, this should have been more of a political issue because they're not even allowed.
Hemp and marijuana are actually two different properties. They're sort of the male and female version of the same plant, but it's like one gets you high and the other doesn't get you high, but makes the best vitamins, the best clothes, the best all kinds of stuff. Hemp.
Exactly. Like this, it's like an all natural product. It's like an herb, like, or like basil or something. I mean, I don't know if people smoke, wouldn't take that and smoke it or make an oil. I mean, they make oil out of oregano, and some people say
oregano doesn't get you high, though.
Exactly. And they're confusing, a lot of politicians are confusing these issues and making it sound like everyone's going to get high. It's like, this is a medicine. And that's like the drug companies are the lobbyists. they're telling these politicians, don't let this go through. Don't let this go through. Make it sound like people are going to be afraid of drugs. Just say no to drugs. And it's like, it's a good drug. It's like, it's supposed to help people. You know, I hate that. And you're right. This actually should be talked about more. And they're not talking about it. Maybe like a year ago, I read an article where people were fighting for their son to get the oil, and they had to go through all this hell to get there. And it's horrible. You watch your child get sick and sicker and almost die when they could be helped by this oil. They should make it more of a political issue. I mean, it's horrible.
Right. Well, great point. I think it should be made more of a political issue. Like I said, it was sort of in the beginning of the election cycle. Now, I mean, you know, of course, there's bigger issues that are taking precedence, and that's happening now. But I'd like to see us get back to that issue. I mean, right before this election year started, I mean, Colorado legalized for recreational and all kinds of other stuff. And Colorado is, you know, I mean, they're taking the heat for being the ones to be, you know, sort of the first. I thought California was going to be the first personally, but, you know, Colorado beat us to it. But anyways, I had a really good feeling about today's show. I think we talked about a lot of stuff. Now, Annmarie, you wanted to get on and go live today. Is there anything that you had in your notes that you were like, this has to be discussed and we didn't talk about it? Anything like that?
Oh, well, I have like tons of stuff. I mean, I'm like.
All right, well, let me just give you the floor. Listen, I actually have to step out, use the restroom for a minute. Look, we're still live. I'm just going to give you the floor for a few minutes. Look, this is Annmarie's second time on the show. I think she does a fabulous job. I'm really intrigued by a lot of the stuff that she talks about. We have a few viewers. Hey, this is going great. Annmarie, I'm going to give you the floor, and I just want you to just take the floor. Okay.
No, I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
You're on the show. The floor is yours. You better just own it. Just own it. Whatever you want to talk about, this is your time. Own it.
Oh no, DLAKE. No, don't do this. Oh no, he's gone. All right. I'm
stepping away. The floor is yours. You better do it.
Don't. Come back. Well, we could talk about President Obama didn't attend Nancy Reagan's funeral, but that's might be a little bit boring. Supposedly his wife Michelle went to the funeral. We know Hillary Clinton went to the funeral.
Okay, no one likes dead air. You got to really bring it.
I'm not ready yet. I only like talk. I'm better talking, like to somebody else. Can you cut this out of the show?
Can we edit later? Is your question? Okay, I just needed a break. I took the break. I didn't hear what was going on though. What was happening there?
Oh, I just mentioned that.
You gotta read it.
Oh, I said President Obama.
Nancy Reagan passed away. R.I.P. Right?
Yes, and the funeral.
A great first lady, and Obama decided to go speak in Texas at South by Southwest in Austin. Is that right?
Yes, and supposedly it's not really a big deal because it really isn't so much of a big deal because usually like the first ladies are supposed to go to these funerals.
And Michelle did attend. So to her credit, she did attend.
She did. So I didn't think that was such a big deal that he didn't go.
And Hillary Clinton, who was also a first lady, also, commented.
She royally fudged up her speech by saying that they did a lot for AIDS research, which they totally did not do.
Wait, I saw a headline. What was that all about?
Oh my God, Hillary Clinton was like boasting and praising her for her work, recognizing AIDS, when that's like the total opposite of what the Reagan administration did. They totally ignored AIDS. And they. So she put her foot in her mouth big time. That was embarrassing. I don't know if someone wrote that speech for Hillary Clinton, but she should have really been more aware.
She's trying to rewrite history at the funeral.
Yes, that's embarrassing. She really put her foot.
Oh no, the other day, it was like the day that First Lady Nancy Reagan passed away. There was a bunch of photos. Oh, young. Here we go. She was attractive, as a young lady, huh? What do you think? I mean, doesn't everyone look a little more attractive, like in old school black and white? Like there's something about that. The old black and white photos.
Yeah, I think that these women look so much older. Like in these old movies, they always look like they're like 19. They look like they're like, a lot older. But
yeah, how Ronald Reagan's like in his 20s there, but he looks like yeah, I know what you mean.
He looks the same. He looks like he didn't age much. I mean, you could tell that's him. The women look so different.
Yeah. That's Nancy Reagan right there? Doesn't look, yeah, but Ronald Reagan, you're like, yeah, that's Ronald Reagan, easily.
He didn't change at all. The women looked like I couldn't even recognize them. Wow.
Yeah. But still, I mean, there's something about. Wait, that's not her. Oh, that's someone. Supposedly, there was a love triangle with this chick, Jane Wyman, Nancy Reagan, Nancy Davis Reagan, and Ronald Reagan. Oh, she almost got in the middle of it.
But she is pretty. That girl's pretty.
If I was Ronald Reagan, I'd be like, you could be in the middle of it there, Jane Wyman. All right. Well, I don't know. That could be bordering on disrespectful. Nancy Reagan has passed away, and what a beautiful first lady. May she rest in peace. Okay. Got to be politically correct, Annmarie.
Well, did you hear what her kids said? I mean, her son said, he joked around and said, well, we all know she could be like a pain in the ass. And her daughter got. Yes! I mean, it was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, everyone was laughing, except Laura Bush didn't look like she laughed when they panned to her, but her husband, George, was. But and Hillary was sitting next to Laura Bush. But he said his mom was a pain in the ass, and if you messed with her husband, you were messing with her. Her daughter talked, and her daughter and her always had some kind of bad relationship. Mm-hmm. So, but she said a few nice things. But it was very weird to see her own children, saying those things about her at the funeral. But they were honest, I guess.
Wow. Wow. I didn't watch that, but maybe now I want to. It was like Ron Jr. and the daughter.
He said she was a pain.
She was a pain in the ass. Yeah, that's how I'm gonna be at my mom's funeral. I'm gonna be like, I love my mom. She's so great, but sometimes she can be a real pain in the ass. Get a little chuckle out of the crowd. Yeah, no, that's fine. What else did you see this week, Annmarie? I was trying to give you the floor, but what else did you see this week? What else did I see that was amazing?
Let's see. The only one more thing is that this is what I wanted to say about Hillary Clinton. I do think that she BS's a lot. And yeah,
she had that debate on Sunday that we started the show with. Then she had the debate at Univision on Thursday in Spanish, and now the Democrats are having all their debates. Before they weren't. Debbie Wasserman Schultz has been getting a lot of crap. I mean, say what you were going to say about Hillary, and then if maybe you could have it. Did you have anything to say about Debbie Wasserman? Go ahead.
Oh, well, the only thing I wanted to say was because I really don't know if the people who are watching really understand all this stuff, but and I don't fully understand it either. But basically, everything. When Hillary said that thing about I wouldn't have any fracking unless we knew the chemicals and we knew all this. I was like, and Bernie Sanders basically was saying he basically said to her bullshit. He didn't say bullshit, but it's complete bullshit, because We will never, ever know. This is my final point about this whole thing, but we will never know what is in the fracturing solution. What are in those chemicals? So when Hillary says, well, I wouldn't allow fracking either, if people wanted to know what those chemicals are, then I wouldn't allow it. We'll never know what those chemicals are because there's it's this Dick Cheney loophole. Everyone out there should Google this. This affects the whole country. It's called the Dick Cheney loophole, and it's basically a loophole in a regulation that the EPA had, and basically it says that these businesses, like the oil company, do not have to disclose any chemical that they put in this fracturing solution because it could be a trade secret. So they're saying that these chemicals that they use, they don't have to tell you what they're using because it's a trade secret. But these chemicals, that's the number one.
The Cheney or the Halliburton loophole is how I was finding it more so. The Halliburton loophole, the Cheney loophole.
Oh my God, yes. Now this Halliburton, when I was in Midland, Texas, we saw everything is Halliburton. Everybody wears Halliburton jackets. I don't know if anyone lives there.
Hydraulic fracturing poses to human health. Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, this is a huge deal. This is what the politicians should be talking about. Everybody should be rising up in this country and saying we want to get rid of this loophole. We will never know what chemicals they are using in the fracturing solution. We will never ever know because of this loophole. And I mean, now that I know about Pennsylvania dumping all their waste water or this fracturing solution that comes up into Ohio, the people in Ohio follow what the people just did in Pennsylvania. They did it in Pennsylvania. They still have fracking, but they got rid of re-injecting this chemical crap back into the earth. It's going to seep into your water. And I mean, nationwide, what are they going to do? It's going to be in everybody's backyard at some point. And because of this loophole, they will never tell you what chemical they're putting in the ground. They're never going to tell you. See, look at that. That's a loophole in the Safe Drinking Water Act of 1974. When the Republicans say we want the government out of our backyard, we don't want regulation, sometimes these regulations are good. These regulations happen because there was some catastrophe that happened. That's why we have this Water Act in 1974. I mean, it's a Safe Drinking Water Act of 1974. And guess what? Now there's a loophole, and it's there, and it's going to be there forever unless one of these politicians talk about it, but nobody's talking about it. The media is only talking right now in the news this week about racism at Trump rallies, and it's people need get back on board. Look at issues. Look and stop. I wish people would stop saying, "Oh, stop regulation, stop regulation." Sometimes we need things regulated because look at this loophole. Don't you want to know chemical is in your water? I mean, really, people are lighting their faucets on fire. If I was in Ohio, I would follow what they're doing in Pennsylvania. I don't understand why people aren't rising up. I'm buying bottled water. Still jugs here. I'm buying bottled water left and right. I mean, eventually I'm going to get someplace. My bottled
water. She pours bathtubs full of Avion and all stuff. No, seriously. No, look, all these issues and what we were talking about before, the marijuana issues, the water issues, the fracking, the fracking solutions, all these issues need to be brought more to the forefront. I mean, during the course of an election cycle, right now it's oh yeah, this week you just said it. I mean, yeah, it's about the racism, the violence, the black people, the white guy hit the black guy, or blah blah blah. Is he creating the division? Look, he wants to be a unifier. Talking about Donald Trump, let's be a unifier. I mean, talking about whoever should be the presidential candidate should be talking about let's unify, unify, unify. Whoever it is. I mean, it could be Hillary if that's her message. I don't know, but it's let's unify. Let's clear up this fracking issue. All water safe to drink. I mean, it's not that hard, right? I mean, let's get it together. Let's pull it together and do things the right way, right?
Exactly. They're ignoring the issue. They want, I mean, I think with these lobbyists.
Are they ignoring it this week, but maybe they'll talk about it in 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, perhaps, or after they're elected, or when's it going to happen?
I don't trust these politicians.
Right now, today.
Yeah, well, you're right. I mean, it'll loop right back around when somebody complains or someone dies or a child gets hurt. You know, then it'll be a story because it's like tug at your heartstrings or look at this, you know, or look at that. Like, look at this fire. My faucet's on fire. I mean, something. It has to be theatrical.
This is why Annmarie is the new member on the show so perfectly the way she just said that. Annmarie, please continue.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, I think that most of these politicians are bought and sold. I think that's why Donald Trump is popular because he is an outsider. All you need is a lobby group. Halliburton has, oh my God, tons of connections, tons of money. I mean, these issues are never going to get fixed. No one's talking about them. I mean, even the Flint water crisis, they went to Michigan. They really didn't talk much about it. I don't think they talked about it at all, actually, in the Republican debate. But, you know,
and then the Democrat debate was there, too, where they talked about it a little bit more. And Hillary and Bernie went back and forth. What about this past week when Bernie was like, white people don't know what it's like to be poor. They've never lived in the ghetto. They never worked for Halliburton. Black people, if black people are poor and white people can't be poor, that's like me saying there's no such thing as a black millionaire. I'm Bernie Sanders. Thank you. Black people cannot be rich. Oh, that's not what he said. That's kind of what he said.
Well, I can tell you for a fact that I was raised where I didn't want, or, you know, I didn't have a want. My parents were both successful people. But when I was 19, I became extremely poor. I got married. I fell in love. I went to SUNY Albany, the State University of New York, and it was at Albany. And I fell in love with this guy who was like a year older than me. And he was a former student, but he didn't graduate. And he worked at the cafeteria. And I didn't know him that well. And we got married about like, you know, oh my God, this changed the course of my life. We got married like a few months later. You know, I met him like in the, oh, is that you? Or is that?
That's you getting married.
Oh yeah. Well, when I called everybody and told them that I got married, nobody believed me because we got married on April Fool's Day, which I didn't realize it was April Fool's Day, but it was it was horrible. So anyway, I go to school, I come, and then I got a job, and I came back home, and he quit his job at the cafeteria, and I didn't know this. And then the next day, we woke up, and he said to me that he couldn't see out of his left eye, and he said that he felt like his fingers were like had pins and needles. So I figured like he slept on it. Funny, I figured, you know, like when your hand falls asleep. And I figured, and I said to him, well,
just days after you got married?
Yeah, like the next day. And oh, by the way, just to put it out there,
honeymoon,
we never had you know, we never had sex. He was you know, completely like impotent when like on our wedding night. I thought we never had sex ever. So I didn't think it was a big deal. I just thought it was a one-time thing. So anyway, I said, well, let's maybe need eyeglasses. Let's go to, you know, Sears Optical. So we went up to the mall. And the guy, the doctor came out, or, you know, he said,
honey, honey, I realized we didn't have sex on our wedding night, but let's just go see if maybe it's because you need glasses.
Oh no, he needed glasses. But he told me he couldn't see out of his. He woke up the next morning and he could not see out of his left eye. So I said,
well, it was because of something you did to him sexually. But you're saying that's
no, nothing happened at all. Nothing happened at all.
I cannot believe this.
Yeah. So then, what happened was we went up there and the doctor came out to me and he said, I didn't have a car or anything. I was 19 and new to SUNY Albany. I don't know where I'm going, of course. So then he said
So
to me,
young and fertile.
so he said, go to the emergency room right now because I can't see behind his eye, which means it's blocked. And if it's blocked, there's blood there or something like that. So I didn't know what he was saying. So we went to the emergency room and they do a lot of tests. They do an MRI and everything like that. By the way, I have no health insurance. Well, because I got married. I had health insurance and I was under my parents' insurance until the day I got married. Now I don't have any health insurance. And he doesn't have any health insurance and he quit his job. So anyway, it turns out that he had MS. That's what they did an MRI and they found out that he had MS. And
multiple sclerosis?
Yes. And he got it was horrible. He lost, it was like an immediate thing. He lost his vision, like in that left eye. His hands, that pins and needles feeling was got worse. He couldn't like use his hands within the next couple of weeks. My mother always says that maybe he knew he had it before he met me, and that's why he was in a rush to get married. But I was like, no, I still don't think he knew because he was like just as I was. I mean, it was
it's
like
not a fucking conspiracy, Mom. Okay.
Exactly. I mean, it was horrible. So then, then he couldn't like move around, and he basically was stuck to the apartment. So then I was trying to work. I got another job. And then, so now I had 2 jobs and school. And then I eventually,
He's just at the apartment all day?
Yeah. And
I understand he's got like a paralysis and he can't see out of one eye. I mean.
Yeah. And I tried, he really needed me at the apartment. So I would leave like food and stuff. And, but he needed help. He needed me to help him to the bathroom and wipe him. And I basically, for the next 4 years, was eventually I dropped out of school and then I went to another school. I tried to go to community college and try to finish out there, but I couldn't finish. I had to work. And then I got even a 3rd job where I would cross.
I'm picturing all this happening out of a small apartment or a small house, place, living or something, or.
I had to lose our nice apartment and go to a crap hole apartment. We had to move from Albany to Schenectady. And it was the last apartment I lived in was so disgusting. And there was actually a hole in the ceiling because my ceiling in the bathroom fell down. And they could see you, the people above us could see you go to the bathroom. And the guy, so.
Hey, are you guys going to the bathroom down there? Yeah. Hey.
Well, I could never. It was bad. So, but this is why I feel like I have different views on food stamps and everything, because I went down with the note and I said to them, I went for Medicaid or Medicare, whatever that's called. And because we had a lot of bills, we had so many bills. I actually got so scared from a phone call from the hospital that I sent them a check. This is so stupid. But remember, I was only 19 when I sent the first check. I sent them a check from every penny I had in my bank account. Was $10,000 for the MRI. Whoa. I sent it to the hospital because they were so threatening on the phone with me. I didn't realize I could ask for a payment plan. And really, we shouldn't have paid it at all. We have a doctor's note that said he had MS. Well, anyway, when I went down there, and we had to take a cab because he could practically not even walk. So we had to take a cab, wait on, these people, they have you wait. It's a horrible process. And I was asking for Medicaid or Medicare for him because we have a lot of bills. And I'm working 3 jobs, 2 on the books, and 1 was at a bridal shop. I never had a wedding. I've always gotten married at City Hall, but I had a job across the street at Net's Bridal Shop, it was called, and I had to there's these dresses, these wedding dresses are 10,000 pounds, and they come in and they try on the wedding dress. That was off the books.
Wait,
so, but anyway,
pounds?
They are so heavy, these wedding dresses. Do you ever see these wedding dresses or these wedding shows? They're horrible. There's these big dresses, and they're so I was
I thought
hungry.
you were talking about European currency with pounds. I'm like, what are you talking about pounds? But you're talking about the weight? They were that heavy?
The wedding dresses. Like I was like really hungry. Let's just put it this way. I was never so starving in my life. I was poor. I'd hardly would eat during the day. And I didn't make enough money at my 2 jobs for like rent and all the hospital bills. I mean, these are real bills. These weren't like I just went to the doctor. It's like, you know, he had a test for this. They used a scissor. They used a gauze. It was like, you know. So then when I cleaned
you got on some EBT and you had some food stamps for a brief period of time. So did I back in the day. Long story short.
No.
No, you didn't have that? What happened?
They denied me. They said that I made too much money. I made like $20 too much money from all my jobs to get food stamps. And it was just me working. And then they denied him, even though we had that thing that said he had MS, they denied us the Medicaid. So it was like for the next 4 years, I just worked and worked myself into the ground. And I was in a sexless marriage. I was basically like his nurse. And, you know, until one day when the ceiling fell through that last apartment, I couldn't take it anymore. And I told him, we have to call your parents. He didn't have a very good relationship with his parents. And I said, I have to call your parents and tell them I need somebody to help me. And, you know, my family I wasn't like on great terms with them either. So, you know, I was just like, I can't take this anymore. You know, I can't, I have a hole in my roof, you know. Are you still there? So anyway, I was miserable. That's why I fled to Texas eventually. But anyway, his mother knew the system. She had a multiple personality disorder, and she came and got him Medicaid or whatever, and he moved to Massachusetts to where her house was or whatever. But anyway, my whole point is that, you know, there are people in this country who are hardworking and who probably need food stamps. And, you know,
it happens in certain people's lives, and it's meant to be a brief alternative to what's going on. Then you get yourself back on your feet. I mean, my ex, after the second child, I was working. She couldn't work for a while. You know, not making a whole bunch of money with 2 kids. We got on the food stamps, lasted 3 months, did it. It was good. I couldn't believe how much they gave us. And then using my card and seeing other people use their cards and the shit that they bought. And I bought good stuff. I bought like healthy stuff, I thought, you know, for the money that we had. You know, we had to buy all the toilet paper, tampons, cleaning supplies and stuff that we talked about earlier. That's not on the card. But nowadays I go right around where I work, and it's like Kentucky Fried Chicken accepts EBT. The pizza place accepts the EBT. Taco Bell is going to accept the EBT. It's like, dude, Taco Bell? Kentucky Fried Chicken? Give me a break. Sorry, my cat keeps meowing. It's freaking me out.
Yeah, well, that's surprising because, you know, I've heard that a lot of people say that they want to get like a rotisserie chicken, a warm rotisserie chicken, which is healthy, and it's at the grocery store, but they're told that they're not allowed to get that rotisserie chicken warm. They'd either have to buy the cold rotisserie chicken or, you know, chicken themselves, I guess, and make it. And I always think, well, they should be able to buy anything like that's healthy. I know in the news like a year ago, some senator wanted to ban like fish and steak and things like this. Those are healthy things. I mean, if it's part of your diet.
And the one EBT guy on the videos on the news was having like, he's like, yeah, every once a week I have a lobster party. I buy all the lobster with my EBT. Then all my homies show up with all the beer and weed and other, you know, drugs and hot chicks in bikinis. I live down by the beach. I'm just a surfer guy. But I'm on EBT. I buy the lobster. They bring the beer. And it's a party every weekend on my EBT. It's like, motherfucker, we're paying for that?
Oh. Well, I'll tell you, it really annoyed me when I heard and I know this is old, you know, like Mitt Romney, but I think it still applies today. But like when they used to say the makers and the takers, and then I really give Paul Ryan a lot of credit when he came out recently and said, hey, you know what? I shouldn't have said makers and the takers, because he himself was on food stamps when his father died. He actually found his father dead, like when he was like 15. And that's why he's into like PX90 and healthy living and stuff like that. And he said that his family benefited from that help from the government, you know, getting food stamps and things like that. But like, do you remember during that campaign, they kept saying the makers and the takers, like you were a taker if you were going to get food stamps. But it's like a lot of people in this country are one paycheck away from being, you know, getting their house foreclosed, or you know, if they get sick, if that's the provider of the family, I mean, then what are you going to do? You know, I mean, there's some people, like you said, who just need temporary assistance, and it really would help, you know. Did I lose you?
Okay, can you hear me? It's DLAKE for PREZ. I lost Annmarie. I don't know. I lost internet connection. Sorry about that, everyone. I went to go grab Trump, my new kitten. Look how cute he is. He wants to make America great again. What? What? Say it. Say it loud. Say it proud. Trump. Okay. Obviously, it's a kitten. It's only about a month old. She's new to the world. Still getting things figured out. Kind of like me. Oh, wait. There we go. Are we back? You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Hey, okay.
Annmarie, sorry. I went to go grab Trump, my new kitten, and wrecked the internet connection. I think we got disconnected there. That part of the show is probably totally ruined, but here's my kitten.
Oh, how cute. I love kittens. I love cats.
Soft kitten.
Oh, it's so cute.
He's about a month old. It's a boy. You can see by the genitalia in the back there. He's got, and his name is Trump.
I want one.
Some that, you know. Okay. Are you peeing on me? You peeing? I don't know. He's still a kitten. He might have peed on me.
He's marking his territory.
He's like, you're mine. But great show that we had. It probably got interrupted there near the end. But great show that we had. I thought we talked about a lot of important stuff. I don't know what you're doing tomorrow. Maybe we'll do another show if we can get Sam on to cover what happened today at the Trump event with him. We'll see if maybe we can arrange something tomorrow. Or perhaps we'll see everyone on our regularly scheduled programming. Thank you, Trump. You're getting pretty noisy there, buddy. On Saturdays, next Saturday at 11 Pacific. That's 1, 2, or what is it? 12, 1, 2. It's about 2 o'clock in West Virginia. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I agree.
Everyone then.
Yeah.
What's that? You want to see more of the kitten?
I love talking.
No!
And,
yeah. It's not his normal area. He's still getting used to it. His mom was the one that was meowing. I'm like, what do you, just be quiet.
Oh, I love cats. I used to have a Siamese cat, Snowball. That was my favorite cat. Snowball. She was like, pure white.
Disconnect us again if I don't grab him. Get over here. He's going for the wires. He's like,
oh no.
Disconnect the show. Hey, Annmarie, it's so great to talk to you today. Let's do it again next week. What do you say?
Yes, it was great talking to you.
All right, great. Everyone have a great day, and we'll see you again next week on themediaspeaks.com. Wait a second. Producer Chin.